The story of Jesse James begins long before fame, in a childhood shaped by curiosity, noise, and the smell of metal. Born in California, he grew up in an environment where machinery wasn't just something you used, it was something you understood. After his parents separated, he spent much of his time around his father's warehouse, surrounded by motorcycle parts and antiques. That space became his first classroom. He learned by touching, breaking, fixing, and trying again. Nothing was polished or perfect, but that was the point. It gave him a hands-on understanding of how things worked. By the time he reached his teenage years, he was already experimenting with welding and building small mechanical projects. There was no grand plan at that stage, just a natural pull toward creating something out of raw materials. Looking back, it's clear that this early exposure shaped not only his skills, but also his mindset, one rooted in persistence, independence, and a willingness to learn through failure. Dreams that changed direction. Like many young people, he didn't initially see his future in the workshop. For a time, sports seemed like the path forward. He played football with intensity and commitment, earning a reputation for toughness and determination. Coaches saw potential, and for a while, it looked like he might build a career in athletics. But life has a way of redirecting even the most focused plans. Injuries brought that dream to an abrupt stop, forcing him to rethink everything. It wasn't just about losing a sport. It was about losing an identity he had started to build. Still, the resilience he developed on the field didn't disappear. Instead, it carried over into the next chapter of his life. He shifted his focus back to working with his hands, bringing the same discipline and energy into a different kind of craft. That transition wasn't easy, but it became a turning point, pushing him toward a path that would eventually define his career. Finding a path through hard work. Before fully stepping into the world of custom motorcycles, he explored different kinds of work, including time spent as a bodyguard for well-known music artists. It was a demanding job that required both physical presence and mental focus. For a while, it offered excitement and a sense of direction, but once again, circumstances changed, and he found himself searching for something more stable and meaningful. That search led him back to what he knew best, building and fixing machines. In the early 1990s, he started working out of a small garage, laying the foundation for what would eventually become something much bigger. There were no guarantees at that stage. Money was tight, tools were limited, and progress was slow. But what he lacked in resources, he made up for with determination. Long hours, trial and error, and a refusal to quit became the rhythm of his daily life. It was during this period that his vision began to take shape. Building a brand from the ground up. In 1992, he officially launched West Coast Choppers, starting with little more than basic tools and a strong belief in his craft. The early years were far from glamorous. He worked long nights, sometimes sleeping in the shop, trying to keep the business alive. Orders didn't come easily, and financial pressure was constant. But slowly, things began to change. As more people saw his work, interest grew. His motorcycles stood out because they didn't follow trends. They created their own identity. By the mid-1990s, he had moved into a larger space and started building a small team. Each step forward felt hard-earned, but it also reinforced the idea that persistence could pay off. The business wasn't just about selling bikes, it was about creating something unique. That focus on individuality became one of the defining features of his brand and helped set him apart in a competitive industry. A style that broke the mold. What made his motorcycles different wasn't just how they looked, it was how they felt. At a time when many custom bikes focused on shine and decoration, his designs leaned towards something raw and stripped down. They emphasized structure, strength, and simplicity. Every piece had a purpose. This approach gave his work a distinctive edge that attracted attention from people looking for something authentic. The bikes weren't made to impress everyone. They were made to resonate with a specific kind of rider. That authenticity became a powerful selling point. Instead of trying to appeal to the mainstream, he stayed true to his vision. Over time, this consistency built trust among his audience. People knew what to expect, and that reliability helped strengthen the brand. It also showed that success doesn't always come from following trends. Sometimes it comes from having the confidence to go in a completely different direction. From workshop to television screens. The turning point in his public recognition came with television. Shows like Monster Garage introduced his work to a much wider audience. Unlike scripted programs, this show captured the unpredictability of real projects. Each episode presented a challenge: transform an ordinary vehicle into something unexpected within a limited time. The format was fast-paced and engaging, and viewers were drawn to the creativity and pressure involved. What made it stand out was its authenticity. The struggles, the setbacks, and the occasional successes all felt real. This exposure turned him into a recognizable figure almost overnight. It also changed the scale of his business. Demand increased, opportunities expanded, and his influence grew. Television didn't just showcase his work, it reshaped his career, opening doors that wouldn't have existed otherwise. Fame and its complications. With visibility came a new set of challenges. Fame can amplify both strengths and weaknesses, and in his case, it brought intense public scrutiny. Personal decisions, business choices, and even past actions became topics of discussion. Moments that might have remained private were now widely known and debated. This shift created pressure that extended beyond the workshop. It affected relationships, reputation, and the overall perception of his brand. While success brought opportunities, it also required navigating a more complex environment. Balancing personal life with public expectations is never easy, and for someone in the spotlight, the margin for error becomes much smaller. Over time, these pressures began to take a toll, contributing to a period of instability that would eventually impact both his personal and professional life. The rise of a cultural brand. As his popularity grew, the business expanded beyond motorcycles. Merchandise became a major part of the brand, reaching audiences who might never purchase a custom bike. Clothing, accessories, and other products carried the same identity and attitude as his original creations. This shift transformed the company into something broader, a lifestyle brand rather than just a workshop. It also provided financial stability, helping to support the more labor-intensive work of building motorcycles. The success of this approach showed how powerful branding can be when it connects with people on a deeper level. Customers weren't just buying products, they were buying into a feeling, an image, and a sense of belonging. This expansion played a key role in sustaining the business during its peak years and demonstrated the importance of adapting to new opportunities. Returning to craftsmanship. Eventually, he shifted focus back to what started it all: craftsmanship. Instead of large-scale production or mass appeal, he concentrated on creating fewer, more detailed pieces. This approach allowed him to reconnect with the hands-on work that first defined his career. It also brought a sense of balance, moving away from the pressures of constant visibility. By focusing on quality over quantity, he was able to rebuild a sense of purpose. This phase of his journey emphasizes the importance of returning to core values. When external factors become overwhelming, going back to what you truly enjoy can provide clarity and direction. Personal challenges and public lessons. Throughout his life, personal challenges have been a recurring theme. Relationships, public scrutiny, and the demands of success all contributed to difficult moments. While these experiences were often challenging, they also offered opportunities for growth. They serve as reminders that success in one area does not guarantee stability in others. Managing personal and professional life requires continuous effort and self-awareness. For those watching from the outside, these moments can offer valuable lessons about resilience, accountability, and the importance of learning from mistakes. A story, still unfolding. Today, his journey stands as a complex mix of achievement, setbacks, and reinvention. He remains a figure associated with creativity and bold ideas, even as his path has taken unexpected turns. The story is not defined by a single moment, but by a series of phases, each contributing to who he is now. It's a reminder that success is rarely linear. It involves highs, lows, and everything in between. What matters most is the ability to keep moving forward, adapting, and finding meaning in the process.